Do you believe the boss notices it all? Derek smirked, releasing a wisp of smoke into the musty kitchen atmosphere. Honestly, there are times when the leader fails to see what's right in front of them. Michael held back his response, fiddling, with his grease-stained apron rather than replying. His heartbeat thudded in his ears. This was more than merely a struggling eatery. Another decay lingered in the air, something that no spreadsheet or sales report could reveal. Now, concealed, beneath a false identity and a fabricated history, he found himself right at the center of it all. The riverside branch of Fresh Bites lingered like a weary artifact beneath the sodium glow of a street lamp, its parking lot deserted except for a few rappers dancing in the breeze. At 2 a.m. on a bitterly cold March night in 2025, Michael Parker, the CEO and founder of the regional chain, found himself in his worn Toyota Corolla, gazing at the weathered sign. 23 locations carried his name, a vision crafted from a weathered food truck 15 years prior into a staple of the Midwest. Yet the dream was turning bitter. Profits had stagnated for months, customer reviews pierced with one-star bitterness, and employees were disappearing quicker than he could bring in new hires. Regional managers offered him empty assurances. "It's just a minor setback, Mike, everything is okay." He chose not to purchase it. The figures were undeniable, just as the unease coiling within him was unmistakable. Something was decaying within. Fresh Bites, and he was finished biding his time for someone else to uncover it. Michael adjusted the rearview mirror, examining the unfamiliar figure he had transformed into. The sharply dressed CEO had vanished, making way for Mike Wilson, sporting a scruffy beard, unruly hair, and a flannel shirt that carried a subtle scent of mothballs. He had devoted weeks to allowing himself to come undone, meticulously creating a facade that no one would associate with the individual featured on the corporate website. This evening, he stepped away from the role of authority. He moved like a spectre, weaving through his own dominion in search of the elusive truth. The following morning, Michael made his way through the grimy glass doors of Riverside. The air struck him with a harshness, a blend of burnt oil, stale coffee, and a hint of bleach that failed to conceal the underlying despair. A weary hostess leaned against the podium, her eyes glued to her phone. She muttered, her gaze fixed elsewhere. "Managers in back. Wishing you all the best." He maneuvered through a labyrinth of adhesive tables, toppled chairs and a refuse bin overflowing with napkins, to arrive at a snug office. Derek, the branch manager, lounged in a swivel chair, his tie askew, casting a disdainful glance at a pile of receipts. "Mike Wilson," Michael remarked, reaching out with a hand. "I'm applying for the kitchen helper position." Derek chose not to accept it. He cast a brief look at the fabricated resume, 2 pages filled with imaginary dishwasher positions at non-existent diners, before discarding it onto a heap of takeout wrappers. "Have you ever operated a fryer?" "Indeed," Michael observed, his voice unwavering. "Satisfactory. Commence the journey tomorrow. $10 an hour. Don't mess this up. No background verification, no referrals, nothing at all." Michael felt a tumultuous sensation in his stomach. Warning sign number 1. If the recruitment process was this weak, what other foundations were falling apart? The first day was a plunge into chaos. The kitchen erupted in a frenzy. Voices echoed against the tiled surfaces. Metal clanged, and the atmosphere crackled with intensity and warmth. Michael diligently cleaned the stovetop, his hands sore from the harsh soap, yet his gaze roamed freely around the room. The staff operated with mechanical precision, their expressions devoid of life, weighed down by fatigue. Vanessa, the assistant manager, weaved through the chaos, her voice strained as she endeavored to bring order to the frenzy. She was in her late 20s with dark circles under her eyes and a clipboard shaking in her hands. Derek reigned with an iron fist over a trivial domain. "Is that really what you consider a burger?" he barked at a line cook, a young lad just fresh from high school. The burger returned overcooked, prompting Derek to immediately reduce the kid's pay, grumbling about the waste of inventory. The brutality was effortless, nearly instinctive. Michael's jaw clenched, yet he remained quiet, patiently, waiting for the right moment. It was then that his gaze fell upon Emily. She was a waitress 19, slender as a reed with blonde hair pulled into a haphazard bun. Her apron bore a mosaic of ketchup stains and grease, yet she navigated the space with a serene precision, balancing trays as if on a tightrope. In a quiet lull, he caught sight of her stealthily tucking a half-eaten dinner roll into her pocket, her actions swift and tinged with a hint of shame. Later, in the outback, she was spotted again, rummaging through the trash, extracting a soggy scrap of sandwich and devouring it with frantic, urgent bites. Michael moved in closer, his voice gentle and soothing. "Hello, how are you? What's happening?" Emily stood still, the bread slipping from her grasp. Her eyes grew large with fear. "I didn't intend for that to happen, so please keep it from Derek. He is going to let me go." "I won't," Michael said. "What's the reason behind your choice of food?" She averted her gaze, her voice scarcely rising above a whisper. "The employee meals have been eliminated. Derek mentioned that it's quite pricey. The shifts are brief as well. I do not. My supplies at home are insufficient." Her words shattered, delicate as crystal. Michael felt a constriction in his chest. Emily, a high school senior, juggled her studies while striving to support her single mother in making ends meet within the confines of a dilapidated trailer park. This position was meant to rescue her, not deplete her. The days unfolded like a relentless, somber race. Michael meticulously scrubbed and chopped, all the while absorbing the chaotic symphony around him, crafting a fragmented picture of disarray. Derek transcended the role of a mere bully. He embodied the essence of a parasite. Paychecks came with puzzling deductions, uniform charges, and equipment damage that remained a mystery to all. Food that was once donated to local shelters, according to company policy, now cluttered the dumpster. Patrons expressed their dissatisfaction with limp fries, lukewarm burgers, and thin soup. Yet Derek dismissed it, slipping the tips intended for the staff into his pocket. One evening, Michael stayed behind after his shift, meticulously cleaning the counters while Vanessa faced off with Derek in the office. Her voice quivered with exasperation. "We're losing people, Derek. Emily's nearing the end of her rope. She's resorting to scavenging for sustenance. We require additional hours, improved meals, anything really." "Silence yourself," Derek snapped. "The corporate world is indifferent to your complaints. They seek figures. Continue to strive, and you'll find yourself on your way out." Vanessa burst out, the door crashing shut with such force that the frame trembled. Michael noticed the glistening tears on her cheeks as she slipped away into the break room. His hands tightened into fists. This went beyond mere mismanagement. It was a profound betrayal of all that Fresh Bites represented. The following day, he witnessed Emily falter. As she was tidying up the table, her tray unexpectedly slipped from her grasp, resulting in a glass of soda shattering on the floor. Derek appeared suddenly, reminiscent of a lurking predator. "That's coming out of your check, princess," he mocked. "Make sure to tidy it up and refrain from anticipating extra hours." Emily nodded silently, her hands trembling as she gathered the fragments. Michael felt the urge to step in, yet he restrained himself. He required additional evidence rather than mere intuition. Then arrived the moment of no return. On a bustling Friday evening, the dining room was filled to the brim with eager patrons. Emily was balancing 3 tables when a hefty man in a trucker hat caught her attention. "This chicken's raw," he shouted, thrusting the plate toward her. The undercooked breast shimmered beneath the lights, a rosy line running through its center. She stumbled over her words, quickly offering an apology, only to be met with his sharp retort. "You foolish girl," he spat, his voice carrying for all the staff to hear. "The responsibility lies with you. Either settle the bill or get ready to leave. And please, no tears. I simply can't deal with your theatrics right now." Emily's expression twisted, her shoulders shaking. With a swift motion, she ripped off her apron, tossed it aside, and dashed toward the door. The door crashed shut, echoing like a gunshot in the stillness. The crew gazed in disbelief. Michael felt a surge of anger. He was filled with impatience. With determination, Michael entered for the next shift. The kitchen buzzed with its familiar disorder, yet the atmosphere seemed denser in Emily's absence. Derek reclined at the counter, tallying tips he hadn't actually earned, his grin slick like the fryer grease. Michael entered the heart of the room, elevating his voice to cut through the noise. "Attention, everyone," he announced, as heads pivoted and weary eyes blinked in response. My name is not Mike Wilson. Greetings, it's Michael Parker. I hold the position of CEO at Fresh Bites. The atmosphere exploded with gasps and curses, a spatula clattering to the tile in a chaotic symphony. Derek's smirk disappeared, his complexion turning a ghastly shade of grey. What on earth? I went undercover to uncover the truth, Michael stated, his gaze fixed intently on Derek. And I discovered a shameful truth. You take from hard-earned wages. You waste food while your team goes hungry. You intimidate young people like Emily until they feel forced to leave. Your time is up, Derek. Gather your belongings and leave. Cheers erupted, rough yet genuine. Vanessa's jaw dropped, a glimmer of hope piercing through her fatigue. Derek crept toward the door, but he halted, pivoting with a seething glare. Do you really believe this is where it all stops, Parker? Prepare yourself for the unexpected. The menace loomed, dense and suffocating. Michael dismissed it casually. Vanessa, your temporary supervisor. Emily is reclaiming her position, along with a salary increase. I regret allowing this to occur, but things will be different moving forward. The team scattered, alive with a mix of astonishment and gratitude, but Derek's words acknowledged him. What was his intention? The following fortnight was a flurry of activity. Vanessa approached, moving along the riverbank with a confident stride, balanced yet resolute. She re-established the breaks, tidied up the schedules, and procured fresh ingredients for the first time in months. Michael found Emily at her mother's trailer, a weary double-wide perched on the outskirts of town. She lingered in the doorway, cautious, her apron still wrinkled and tucked away in a drawer. Apologies, Michael expressed. That was uncalled for. Return to me. A solution will be provided. Emily paused for a moment, then gave a slight nod. All right, but only if it stands out. She came back the following day, her enthusiasm reigniting as Vanessa guided her towards a supervisory position. Complimentary meals are back, offering warm, satisfying dishes for each shift. Paychecks came in full, and surplus food was donated to shelters once more. Michael implemented fresh guidelines throughout the entire chain. Each corporate suit was required to complete a restaurant shift annually, without exception. He believed they had overcome the greatest challenges, yet a sense of discomfort remained. Derek's final words reverberated in his thoughts, a shard he couldn't extract. In the stillness of the night, while Michael meticulously examined the payroll, in his office, a sudden email notification broke the silence. Unidentified, impossible to track, accompanied by 2 attachments, a blurry image of him in disguise, conversing with Emily near the dumpster, and another showing Vanessa discreetly taking cash from the register and hiding it in her pocket. The note stated, I am aware of your hidden truths, $50,000, or this goes public. Michael's heart raced. Derek had been observing, biding his time. If those photos were to surface, it would appear as though Michael observed his team closely, while Vanessa was a deceiver, a falsehood, yet a significant one. New revelations would be engulfed in the controversy. He summoned Vanessa, revealing the images to her. I didn't take anything, she cried, her voice trembling. He must have planted it. I would never have done such a thing. I trust you, Michael stated, but we must put a stop to him immediately. Michael enlisted the services of a seasoned private investigator, a rugged former police officer known as Ray, who carried the distinct scent of cigarettes and coffee. Ray worked quickly, revealing a path of soil. Derek had discreetly extracted thousands from Riverside over several months, channeling the funds into an offshore account. The blackmail was his final move, a frantic attempt to secure funds before vanishing into thin air. Equipped with bank records and a strategy, Michael followed Derek to a rundown motel on the fringes of town where neon lights flickered over the chipped paint. He rapped on the door and Derek swung it open, a smirk playing on his lips. Approach with humility. Game's up, Michael declared, flinging the records in his direction. You won't receive a single cent. Derek rested against the frame, unperturbed. With just a single call, everything you've built could turn to dust. Those images will destroy you. Michael moved in, his voice a low, steely whisper. Give it a shot. My legal team is prepared to take you down. The team will provide their testimonies. Emily, Vanessa, everyone involved. You have absolutely nothing. Derek's smirk wavered, his confidence shattering like fragile glass. He whispered a curse, seized a duffel, and slipped into the darkness. Michael observed him leave, the weight lifting from his shoulders. The images never emerged. Half a year later, Riverside had transformed beyond recognition. Vanessa managed it with remarkable skill, her guidance transforming the branch into a shining example for the entire chain. The dining room thrived with cheerful patrons. The kitchen resonated with determination, and the staff shared laughter like a close-knit family. Emily flourished as she had signed up at the nearby community college, pursuing a business degree, her eyes shining with the promise of a future she had once deemed unattainable. Michael lingered in the dining room one evening, observing the scene as it unfolded before him. Emily engaged in conversation with a familiar face, her smile warm and sincere. Vanessa surveyed the kitchen, her clipboard firmly in hand. The team flowed together in a harmony rooted in confidence, not apprehension. He had infiltrated the scene to secure new experiences, but ultimately it was those very experiences that rescued him. The chain had evolved beyond mere profit. It had become a testament to the people, the mission that had been its foundation, and the near loss that had shaped its journey. Derek had departed, the darkness receded, and the path forward was unclouded. He ventured into the night, the refreshing air enveloping him, the sign illuminated overhead, enticing new flavors. After a long time, it finally felt genuine.